Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we have concluded today's hearing in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, and the crowning glory of it was that he put up a very good defense of himself, even though he was concentrating on the objections raised to the jurisdiction of the court. On that note, the court adjourned for further hearing to 7th of November, when the court expects that he would enter his full defense. All right. So
Nnamdi Kanu's case has come to an end today. Today is the 5th day of November 2025, and it has been adjourned to the 7th day of November. That is in 2 days' time. Oh, yes. But then, you know, as it is, the Chief Judge is still begging Nnamdi Kanu to open his defense against the allegations that the Nigerian government has laid on him. But Nnamdi Kanu persisted that he doesn't have any case to answer in Nigerian courts. The Chief Judge, remember yesterday being the 4th, the Chief Judge gave him till today. And today, Nnamdi Kanu still insists that he doesn't have any case to answer. And the Chief Judge say, oh guys, you still have till 7th of November, which is in 2 days' time. But then, aside from that, there is something that the lawyer said that I want you to watch now. Because if you listen to this video I played, the lawyers made a very simple, you know, summary of what happened in court. They did not talk as they used to talk, you know. Once they come out from courtroom, they will, you know, say a lot of things, you know, talk so many things about the case of Nnamdi Kanu, even begging the president to release him. But in this case today, they said, you know, they summarized everything briefly. Do you know why? Listen to this video.
The issue of talking to the press also came up, and we said no. Right to address the press is a fundamental right, because once we fail to address the press and tell the press the real position of things, they may go about report, especially those of them who don't have the opportunity of coming inside the court. They may go and report another thing. So the court said that we have a right to exercise to address the press, which even the prosecution has confirmed. But he said that we should do it in line with the law, just like as I'm doing it now. I just reported what happened in court, not prejudicing what is happening, what is going to happen. And I believe that just like every other person, we are calling Mr. President to discontinue this trial. It's embarrassing Nigeria the more. Thank you and God bless you.
You heard that, right? Very well. Now, I want to show you a video. This video is an exposition of what is happening in Nigerian judiciary. Oh, yes. So please, I want to beg you to spend a little time and listen to this man. After listening to him, you understand what I'm telling you. Please, watch this for a minute.
Now, when Nigerian citizens see the details of the Supreme Court statement today, they will marvel at how, after saying all these illegality that the federal government and their security agencies committed, all they had to do was that the primary court said, the appeal court said that the primary court had no jurisdiction. So they condemned the appeal court for taking that decision. Therefore, because the primary court had jurisdiction, the case should go back to them. So if in all these atrocities they committed, they had killed Nnamdi Kanu, what would be the basis of the primary court and its jurisdiction? What would be the basis of it? You know, when I started, I talked about judicial rascality. So what it empowers is security rascality. Because you cannot tell other police, army, navy, air force, condemn them plainly, and then you exonerate them. So you give them license to kill Nigerians, just like they are doing in Plateau, killing people. They are doing in Benue. Herdsmen are killing people. But you haven't had any person in this country condemn the herdsmen of Nigeria for killing hundreds of thousands of Nigerians. You haven't had them condemn the killings in southern Kaduna. So the security agencies have been encouraged to recklessness. And recklessness is not about spoken word. Recklessness with gun, killing Nigerian citizens. So if anybody, when Nigerian citizens see the details of the Supreme Court statement today, they will marvel at how, after saying all these illegality that the federal government and their security agencies committed, all they had to do was that the primary court said, the appeal court said that the primary court had no jurisdiction. So they condemned the appeal court for taking that decision. Therefore, because the primary court had jurisdiction, the case should go back to them. So if in all these atrocities they committed, they had killed Nnamdi Kanu, What will be the basis of the primary court and its jurisdiction? What will be the basis of it? And look at the whole panel, about 7 judges, not one Igbo man, not one person from the southeast, not one person from the south. So it's a contrived business to put that boy, to put him behind bar. And we have been asking that they should turn him to Kuje prison. They refuse. Why won't they allow him to go to Kuje prison? Why keep him at the DSS? Why? So it shows you that Nigeria is not interested in fighting insecurity. Because if they were interested and they love this country, they would have seen that Nnamdi Kanu is a major instrument that will bring security. Southeast will be a beginning. The other parts of the country would have been a follow-up. So it's unfortunate that you condemn security forces for the crimes they commit and you exonerate them by keeping Nnamdi Kanu there and asking that we go back again, to start case from, Federal High Court Africa. What actually is the sin of Nnamdi Kanu? Asking for justice for everyone. That's what he's saying. That the Southeast has been completely, excommunicated from everything that happens in this country. So we pray that this young man, I don't know whether you have had the privilege to speak with him, one of the most brilliant young men you can ever come across. Not only is he brilliant, but well spoken. Why? This one shows you that we have no values. Can you imagine a boy that a whole zone respects? A whole zone respects him. Who else, apart from M.I. Opara in those days and Dr. Nnamdi Kanu, they don't have as much respect as this young man. That would have been an advantage for Tinubu and his government with the National Security Advisor to say, look, how do we seriously start to curb this insecurity in the country? If this boy is so loved by his people, why don't we sit him down and discuss with him, know where he's coming from? If there are things he's agitating against we can solve, we start doing something. And look at Northwest and Northeast. Look at where the country is today. Everywhere is war, killing people. Killing is no more, it's an admirable, concept in Nigeria now. Any day nobody is killed, you don't hear it, then it's abnormal. But the normal day, hundreds killed in herdsmen in Benue Plateau, in southern Kaduna, in the southeast, then not to talk of the bandits and Boko Haram in northeast and northwest. That one is a daily occurrence, killing hundreds of them. We're a country without statistics. If we have good statistics, people will riot to know the number of Nigerians who are dying. Every town now, in all parts of the country, people are burying people. People go to bed, they won't wake up. So it's all cumulative effect of the total insecurity. Probably you do work somewhere, nobody pays you. You are working for somebody, you are not paid. You go to bed, you are thinking of what you will tell your wife in the morning. You can't pay school fees. The man goes to bed and won't wake up. I will say, God, please take my life. Why am I living? When a man cannot take care of his immediate family, what life is it anymore? And you don't want people to react. Young men leave school, no work. And they see somebody who rigged an election and goes to Abuja and he buys a armored plated jeep for 160 million and he wants him to go and sleep. His parents sell their property to train our young men and women, and they come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They can't say good morning, thank you to their parents. They will look at their parents without any hope of tomorrow. Parents who have trained their children, we should have hope that their children should get back to take care of them. But it's not the case in Nigeria. And we don't appear, our legislators are not interested. The executive all over the place are not interested. So I don't know how this problem will be sorted out. I normally find it very difficult to discuss a profession that I'm not one. But common sense also tells you that you can reason. If somebody is talking, you can reason. But it's painful because some patriotic peoples, I saw 1 or 2 senators there who left everything they were doing to come to the Supreme Court with some hope. Because if you listen to the judgment of the appeal court, it was fundamentally very literate, accommodating on every aspect of it. So people were very hopeful that the appeal court will uphold the judgment of the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court will uphold the judgment of the Court of Appeal, and that would have been a case done for. But unfortunately, because if you were in the Supreme Court, like I was, we were there as early as 8:30 in the morning. And when he started running this judgment, on every aspect of that case, he condemned it. the Supreme Court condemned the federal government of Nigeria. In fact, they used the word illegality not less than 20 times. The killing of people at Nnamdi Kanu's father's compound, they even named the number of people killed, the rendition from Kenya, how he was kidnapped. I mean, it was difficult to believe that after condemning the security services for unauthorized and unorthodox behavior, kidnapping Nigerians and killing people anyhow, I've never seen a court with that kind of finality in terms of condemning public officers who were working for government, telling them, you don't take the laws into your hands, only to finally, because they said they disagree with the Supreme Court, that the lower court had no jurisdiction. Because the basis of what they are doing, that they should now go back to that court because it has jurisdiction to hear the case in the first place. That's someone else. So if Nnamdi Kanu dies, after all this illegality, what case are they going to hear? This boy has been under detention for how many years now? Even the Supreme Court was asking all these questions too. The illegality that has been meted against him, and yet they say we'll go back again to the federal high courts, where we then will start begging for bail. Even condemned the government, that court, for revoking his bail. That was the exact statement of the Supreme Court. So you don't even know the basis of their final decision. So when people say that there is a judicial rascality in this country, you cannot but agree with those people, because unless it affects you, you won't appreciate why they said so. Because when you at the whole Supreme Court, everybody bent his face down. All lawyers were so astonished. To talk of embarrassment is an understatement. But in all cases, as a Christian, we give glory to God.
Well, having said that, I know a lot of people have raised questions and eyebrows about the propriety of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu representing himself. It is his decision to make. He has the right under the Constitution to defend himself, and this case being politically charged, I think the idea or the notion that this is a normal criminal case has to be dispensed with. This is a normal criminal case at all. If you want to understand the complexity of this case and the true political dimensions to it, you think of the case of Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Obafemi Awolowo, Mahatma Gandhi. These cases were all politically tinged cases masquerading as criminal prosecutions. And these great men I mentioned, at some point in their struggle, at some point in their travail imposed on them by the state, they took the podium and defended themselves. So a politically charged case often comes with some unusual dimensions like this. So because, why? The reason is simple. Lawyers are restricted to very narrow wiggle room when they are doing a case. And that narrow wiggle room can be inimical, can be prejudicial to the interest of the client when the case has a political dimension to it. That thing needs to be out there. That limitation we have is not expected of the defendant himself. So a lot of times, the defendant himself will make the best defense of his case at that very point in time. That does not obviate the fact that the presence of a lawyer in a case is always better. But in certain circumstances, there are exceptions, and the exception is, this one is one of the major exceptions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my Lord has adjourned the matter to 7th of July, 7th of November, for the Mazi to open his defense, or he will foreclose his right of defense. So we are going back to the drawing board, go back to office, look at it, and offer our advice as consultants. But having said that, the issue of talking to the press also came up, and we said no. Right to address the press is a fundamental right, because once we fail to address the press and tell the press the real position of things, they may go about report, especially those of them who don't have the opportunity of coming inside the court. They may go and report another thing. So the court said that we have a right to exercise to address the press, which even the prosecution has confirmed. But he said that we should do it in line with the law, just like as I'm doing it now. I just reported what happened in court, not prejudicing what is happening, what is going to happen. And I believe that just like every other person, we are calling Mr. President to discontinue this trial. It's embarrassing Nigeria the more. Thank you and God bless you.
And the schemers in Nnamdi Kanu from the hands of terrorism. That's our urgent call. That's our urgent appeal to the consciousness of the global community. United Nations urgent intervene. The schemers in Nnamdi Kanu from the hands of terrorism. That's our call. That's our message. The schemers in Nnamdi Kanu, exercise your sovereign powers, ignite your decrees. The schemers in Nnamdi Kanu, that's our call, that's our message. Global solidarity for Martin Nnamdi Kanu is what we are calling for. Justice for one is justice for all. Injustice against one is injustice against all.
Why should anybody fight for him? I'm going to answer this way. You know Nelson Mandela?
Yes.
He was regarded as a terrorist because he was fighting for the liberation of blacks in South Africa. In fact, Nelson Mandela's name was not removed as a terrorist until he became president of South Africa. That was when the US lifted the terrorism tag, granted him a visa, and traveled across the world. And one of the things he said when he was reaching the US, same question was asked of him. Why is it that as a person who's freedom loving, you are supporting Cuba? Which the person said, that's a human rights violating regime, referring to Fidel Castro. He said to them, he said, sometimes the problem with you people is that you want to choose our friends for us and you want to choose your enemies for us. That is basically what's happening in your NBA group. Some people are trying to choose your enemies for you. But the question you should ask yourself is, what is Nnamdi Kanu fighting for? Self-determination. It came out several years ago that the Igbos are tired of being treated like slaves in the country. And he wants the former Biafra region to break away as a nation state. The constitution is very clear. You can agitate for self-determination. But we don't have the position of referendum in our constitution. He started peacefully. He was going from village to village. In fact, he didn't go from village to village. He was on a radio. His only weapon was a microphone. Guess what? When he was arrested the first time, what they found on him was a microphone, not a gun. They found with Mandela a pistol. Well, with Nnamdi Kanu, they found a microphone. In fact, when they were asked to present evidence, even in the ongoing case, the evidence presented is that microphone, his underwear, top and bottom, and some of his writings. No element of terrorism was established in court. Nobody has testified that they saw him buying guns or ordering guns or ordering. They brought to court different kinds of audio messages, which was his response to when police was killing his people. When I was at Sahara Reporters, I had in my possession a video which I published at that time. I don't know if Facebook has taken. As the Nigerian army went to where IPOB people were peacefully gathering and shot them dead live. 2014, I think. They killed them right there. This was captured on tape. It was provided by Amnesty International to me. So who committed the crimes? Is it the person who started peacefully or the government who said so? But like I started this with, this was the goal, you know. But the simplest question a lawyer asks when you go to court is evidence, right? Yes, if somebody is brought before a court on terrorism charges, and we have not been able to prove it in 4 years, there's something wrong with that process. Meanwhile, C0nfúsedd was arrested maybe last year. He has been convicted within 6 months in Finland. He may not have been as guilty as it, but he has the process of appeal. The trial was speedy, open, and in my own view, fair. What happens to Nnamdi Kanu? You just keep defending, detaining him. Even when the Court of Appeal said that he's discharged and acquitted and wrote that he should be released forthwith, you refuse to honor that court order, and you are going into NBA groups to say, why is anybody fighting? You are taking extra legal steps to violate the right of a campaigner for self-determination. We are taking extra legal steps to force your hand to respect his rights. That is the reason for my protest. And who is in a better position to know a sham trial if it's not Sowore? I've been subjected to as many as 10 of those foolish trials. I have about 3 now pending. And they are going to end up in nothing. That's why since 1992, I don't write statement in police station. They sit me down, we are reading your rights to you, because I know we are not going to trial, for which my statement will be needed. And if I'm going to trial, my statement will not count. If you have made up your mind that I'm guilty as charged. So tell your NBA friends that first and foremost we are disappointed in them. They are not even represented in court to observe the trial. The same way they did to me in 2019. The NBA cannot, the American Bar Association sends representative to all my court trials. The Nigerian Bar Association is not in court. Even as a friend of the court, you should be there standing up and say, my Lord, can we guide you? This is what the law says. The judge can say, shut up. But you are there. You go to your WhatsApp groups, and you know what they do. They then divide it into Yoruba. The people that are most vocal on Nnamdi Kanu, which riles me out, these Yoruba pseudo-intellectuals. He has committed. Will be sending me videos. And I tell them, I say, if you are tired of Nigeria, if Tinubu was tired of Nigeria 20 years ago and he granted an interview that Nigeria should disintegrate, why should you stop others who understand the same right? To be clear, I don't want Nigeria to break up.
All right. So, what do you make of it? Thank you for watching. Do well to subscribe because there are so many updates I want to share with you. All right. Thank you, and may God continue to bless you.